Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, August 21, 2025. Time in Texas, about 9 a.m. And some of the things I'll cover. War on American soil. And the New York Stock Exchange in Texas. And is it time for you to move out of the blue states? We're going to begin with the update of the tropics. We have Aaron currently off of the East Coast, impacting now North Carolina, South Carolina at 105 miles per hour wind speed, 945 barometric pressure, moving forward at 17 miles per hour. By Friday or Saturday, it's to move north and begin impacting Canada. We have 3 systems behind Aaron. The first one, 40% chance of development in 48 hours, 70% in 7 days, but also predicted to turn northeast away from the U.S. 2 smaller systems, one with 30% chance development in 48 hours, 30% in 7 days. The second, 40% chance of development in 7 days, 40% chance of development in 48 hours, and 40% chance development in 7 days. All 3 of these systems behind Aaron are predicted to turn north and east away from the U.S. And now we have, but North Carolina and South Carolina all along the East Coast, all the way up to New Jersey from Aaron, are experiencing waves and impact along their beaches with some flooding in some areas and dangerous undertow currents. So that's going on. And we have this. This came out from PINBALL this morning, and in my previous video I put out that I believed the U.S. Would possibly experience warlike events upon American soil in the near future, with the U.S. Hitting in Mexico, South America, including Venezuela, against the cartels who have been invading the U.S. We currently have in the U.S. cartel militias who are armed with not just normal arms for an individual, but they're actually armed to a military grade level. It's believed, are in the U.S., primarily in the blue states. That would be the Dem-controlled states, including California. Is it time for you to move out of a blue state? I would say most likely yes. But what's coming out from PINBALL now is a timeline. We did hear publicly in the past 7 days that the U.S. has put 3 warships and 4,000 Marines in international waters adjacent to Venezuela. And we have previously had 4 warships positioned in the Gulf of America. I submit a high probability that the U.S. Will be in an actual war, and that we could very likely see warlike events on American soil. The timeline that PINBALL has received is mid-September. And we know that the cartels are inside the U.S., and I believe primarily in the blue states, led in by the deep state-controlled Dem Party under JB, beginning in 2021. So that's going on. But we're hearing a correlating war timeline. And this correlates to the information I put out, my perspective in previous videos this week, that I believe when the U.S. goes to war against the cartels, that there will be a simultaneous U.S. military plus other nations moving against Syria. And we have a new timeline for Israel to move against Hamas in Gaza as being September 2. So we see things lining up for September. And we have this. And this warlike effort, I put out my previous video, the moves that the U.S. government is making, one, to shut down public information on many venues, and to federalize law enforcement, and we're seeing that move in Washington, D.C. It's very logical. If the U.S. goes to war against the cartels, the primary target would be Washington, D.C. And we're seeing Pam Bondi, the President Trump's AG of the DOJ, now deputizing Secret Service and the D.C. Metro Transit officers, that they can now make an arrest in D.C. without a warrant. So we see a clamping down and more law enforcement in Washington, D.C., which is what we would expect to see. And information is coming out that Texas is now the financial capital of America, no longer New York City, with Governor Greg Abbott ringing the bell to open the session in Dallas, Texas, this morning. In Texas, we have more financial employees associated with the New York Stock Exchange, located in Dallas, Texas, being 384,000. New York City is no longer the financial capital of America, but rather now Dallas, Texas. The New York Stock Exchange in Dallas, Texas opened in March of 2025, with one of its first listings being the Trump Media and Technology Group. So that's going on. And we have this. So we're hearing Walmart had a recall, I heard this yesterday, of shrimp, I believe, in 15 states, stating that the shrimp could be radioactive. We know from Fukushima, that 2011 event in Japan, from their nuclear power plants, that the Pacific Ocean had received a huge amount of radioactive water. So I don't know where these shrimp were caught, but it seems strange to me. I mean, radioactive shrimp, you would have been able to detect the radioactive content well before the shrimp was on the shelves. But however, Walmart put out a recall, 15 states, for radioactive shrimp. Now on Facebook it's saying, a little comedy, Walmart says it's okay to eat the radioactive shrimp if you eat them under a lead blanket. So that's going on. And now we have this from the Houston Chronicle. Texas has passed a redistricting bill, meaning the Dems in Texas will lose 5 positions, I understand. So this concludes my flash update. I did want to put out that new information with a intel timeline of America's hit on the cartels. being planned by NORTHCOM for about mid-September. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.